this meeting of the Delaware Trust Board. It is 5:07 p.m. And we will start with a prayer. Chief, would you please do that for us?
Keshelmiang, Wanishi Willie Kishku, Takokan, Wanishi Nuhakti, Keshelmkon. I'm thanking the Creator for this good fall day. And Wanishi Mitzi, Wanishi B. Willie Pelin Napeo, on Gandhi Wogan, Napeo, Nikki. I ask the Creator to stand us up well and bring a blessing to the Lenape people and all of our friends. Nanalakich. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Chief. Roger, you want to do the roll call, please?
Chairman Mary Jo Peterson,
Present.
Secretary Roger Stewart, present. Treasurer Joe Brooks, here. Member Homer Scott, here. Member John Thomas, here. Assistant Chair Marilyn Coe,
Here.
Member Bernard Crawford, absent.
I have a note here that Verna Crawford is ill, confined to home, very sick with the typhoid flu, so I entertain a motion to have her absence as
So moved.
excuse. Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the question. All in favor to consider Verna Crawford's absence as excused due to illness, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion is carried. And also at our last meeting, Roger was through ill. I entertain a motion to have his absence at last month's meeting excused due to illness.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of having Roger's absence at last month's meeting excused due to illness, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion is carried. And we welcome our guests this evening. And I entertain a motion to approve the agenda. A second?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. The agenda is approved. And now we have the minutes from last month's meeting. The video on our website was not available until yesterday, which is why I wasn't able to prepare the minutes until yesterday evening, but you have them before you with draft stamped on them, subject to trust board's review and approval, so a couple minutes to look those over. questions or comments on draft minutes from last month's meeting? Yes,
Yeah, Mary Jo, where it says, a motion to approve the 2018 trust budget passed, I think we should have the amount in there.
oh, okay, certainly.
Also, after discussion, a motion to approve $500 donation passed unanimously. I
Yes,
think it should be in there what committee that's coming out of and who the donation was to. Which
Well,
it
it
was
refers to-
$500 from what, cultural, wasn't
I
it?
believe it was cultural preservation.
To Lenapiosi.
Okay, well, the Lenapiosi Foundation is mentioned in the previous sentence.
That's right, it is.
Okay, but I agree, it should say from cultural preservation.
Yeah, from Cultural Preservation Committee.
Okay.
That comes out of their,
Out of the budget amounts that are for just that committee.
Okay.
You see anything else?
Okay, daily report for the Elders Committee.
Yeah, Elders Committee, Kay Anderson.
That's right. I don't remember
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Chair,
Yes,
could we have you guys speak into your mics just a little bit more? Sorry to say, the machines back here, when they're turned on,
oh,
we
yes.
can't hear what you guys are trying to decide or discuss.
Testing.
Thank you.
Okay, we're reviewing the draft of last month's meeting minutes, and so far the needed corrections is that Kay Anderson presented the Elders Committee report instead of Homer Scott, and also Joe suggested that the motion to approve the $500 donation to the Lenapiosi Foundation should also say from Cultural Preservation Committee, make that more clear, and I agree with that correction too. Are there any other?
And also to add the amount of the
Oh, yes.
2018 trust budget.
Okay, where do you want that added? You tell me and I'll write it.
Motion to approve the 2018 trust budget passed with 4 yes, 1 no. Motion to, let's see, a motion to approve the 2018 and then the amount and then trust budget passed.
The 2018 trust budget and then maybe in
Then the amount,
parentheses amount.
yep, and then passed.
Okay, what do you have for the amount?
Ooh, I don't think I've got it with me. Leslie, do you have that amount we approved?
No, it was in last month's packet, and I don't have last
Yeah, I
month's
don't
packet.
have
It's
last
like
month's packet
Can
either.
you
a little
find
over
it under-
130,000, but
Is that last month's packet?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be in there. Because I had everybody a copy of it made. I didn't bring the last month's packet. 60,000 some odd dollars.
Mary Jo,
Yes,
at our last meeting,
yes,
we had the resolution 2017-03.
yes, that's noted in the minutes.
Yes, and also with that came attachment from Tom Peckham, the attorneys. And then also they attached to that resolution all of the financials of our
Yes.
trust financials, not only from us, but the Kansas Delawares and also the Idaho Delawares.
Yes.
And at night, they only presented one copy. And I wanted a copy of that. And I was just wondering if, I'm still requesting a copy of all that information.
Leslie,
Now,
do you know where you could get a copy of the statements?
yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay,
I've been asking for it. I came in here and I asked Leslie, and I asked the chief's office, I I did get a part of one, but it was the wrong one. And so, I was still waiting on a copy of that.
I think at the close of the meeting, if you'll check with Leslie, she'll be able to get that for you, is that correct?
I believe it's still on my email, so I can get it off of my email, should be able
Okay.
to, yes.
Okay, thank
Regular
you.
copy of that budget is not in there, it was on a separate sheet.
Mhm.
It looks-
Oh, so it's not in there?
It's not in that packet,
Okay,
it was presented separately.
I can get you the number before you leave.
okay, that'll be fine. So,
And also with that, I think all of our council trust board members, should have been given a copy of that night. They wanted us to vote on it. It's a very important resolution pertaining to our monies. And what happened there was that it confused us. We didn't know what they wanted us to sign because it was presented at the very last moment, along with 57 pages. They knew we couldn't review it. Whatever happened there, with them presenting that request for that resolution. And so consequently, we need to be careful about anything like that. Whoever it is that wants to address anything that we need to address and to pass, we need to have that information available to us ahead of time. I know my good friend over there, Joe, during the tribal council meeting, he asked that he wanted his information 3 or 4 days ahead of time so he could study it. And it's the same applies here. I feel, that we should have that type of information. And I just want to caution the people that if anything like that occurs again, don't expect us to vote on it. We can vote on it the next month or some other time. And it's not the first time that stuff like that was laid on us. And I don't feel comfortable about that at all. And we let it go by, a couple of times, when they want to, at the last minute, throw something down at us, expect us to, all agree to it when we haven't even seen it. I don't operate that way. But anyway, I would just wanted to just point that out, that any kind of resolutions or information and documents and stuff like that, we all should have a copy of that.
and with advance notice, so there's time to read it and
Right.
consider it.
I could have, I would have liked to have seen that particular resolution in advance. There were some things that I wanted to do pertaining to it. Not only following it up, but see, there was still a question about that being trust money.
Does Ian email?
Well, if you'd like, during new business, we can discuss that
Okay.
further. Yes, Joe?
I'll make a motion to approve the board monthly meeting minutes dated November 29th, 2017 with corrections.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the November trust board meeting minutes as corrected. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion is carried and the November minutes are approved with corrections. Roger, do you have the October minutes available? Oh, yes, Joe?
I was gonna make the motion to table the October minutes for one more month until our January meeting. Because he does not have them ready yet.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll make the motion to extend that to January for the October minutes.
We have a motion, do we have a second for that?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to table the October meeting minutes until our January meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The October meeting minutes are tabled till January 2018. And now we're ready for our treasurer's report.
Got a very good treasurer's report. We started off 10/31 with 4,391,430.75. We ended up with 4,444,625.98. for a gain of $53,195.23. Very favorable report. If you look on the back page after the graph, you'll see that for the year, not counting December, this is only through November, the trust has made $272,921.85, which is very encouraging. So, I want you all to see that also. We only have one negative month out of 11 months,
May all our future years be like that.
really. That's all I have for the treasurer's report.
One comment or request that I would have is that the deficit in the education committee, that the tribe is going to take care of that for us. Would it be possible to transfer those funds before the year ends so we could end the year without the deficit?
It needs to be put on the agenda for the tribal council meeting for Tuesday night because Leslie said she could not find it in the minutes. I know it was approved already, but she can't find it in the minutes.
I've not located, nor have Rhonda's been locating.
So apparently it
the minutes
didn't
that
get
show
in the
approval.
minutes for some reason, but I know it's been voted on once. But we need to have it officially voted on again so it can be in the minutes.
That way you'll have a backup for the
Yes,
transfer.
please.
I don't have any other comments or questions. Does anybody else? None, I'd entertain a motion to approve the financial spending audit.
So moved.
A second? A motion and a second to approve the financial spending audit. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion is carried. And now we'll have our reports. Community service, Joe?
Community service. They did not group these, so I'm gonna give them individually. We approved one medical for $200. We approved 2 emergency assistants for a total of $374.61. We approved a burial for $500. We approved 4 emergency assistants for a total of $800. We approved 1 optical for $168.20. We approved another optical for $192.82. We approved 2 more emergency assistants for a total of $400. And we approved 1 more burial for a total of $500, for a grand total of $3,135.63. That meeting was Monday of this week, which would have been the 10th.
Is there any questions or comments on the community services report? Now we'll go on to cultural preservation. Homer?
Okay, we had a meeting, December the 4th. We discussed our classes, our moccasin classes, and when the last class was gonna be for the moccasins, finishing up the moccasins, which would be December the 18th, next Monday. And we also discussed about not having a meeting for this month because of we're so busy. I'm not having a meeting, but culture night, our apartment dinner, because we're so busy with moccasins and everything like that. So we canceled that. So they go right on into finishing up their moccasins. Then we, while we was talking about that, we decided to go ahead and make the what we're going to do on Culture Night, which would be January the 9th. We're we're planning on having chili and hot dogs. And our next meeting will be January the 8th. And let's see, we got some papers that we had, I got to bring mine, about ideas on what they want to make throughout the year, this coming year. And I've got to bring my paper on that deal. Who's interested and how many people is interested? From 1 to 10, we had a bunch of line items. And they'll turn them in sometime in January to find out what we're going to make the culture, what they're planning on making, or whatever they want to do. And so there's we talked about Stop and Dance, and we're going to discuss more about it in January. We're planning on in February for the Stomp Dance. We don't know whether it's going to, we want to find out what's available, what days available at the fairgrounds. We had a good turnout last year. We figured that the 10th or the 17th of February. And hopefully we'll have flyers out in January. So as we find out on what day we're going to have it. And as soon as we find out what day is opening for fairgrounds, we'll have a flyer start put out there. And that's all I have.
Is there any questions or comments on the Cultural Preservation Committee report? If not, we will go on to Education Committee. Marilyn?
Okay, they approved 3 education assistance applications, one for 50, one for 46, and another one for 50. One athletic assistance for 50 and a driver's ed for 75 for a total of $271.
Any comments or questions on the Education Committee report? If not, we'll go on to Elders Committee.
Okay, I didn't make the last hour's meeting because of the doctor's appointment. And so Kay's here, I had to call her and make sure she was here. She's going to give a report on that elders meeting for this month, what they had done. Okay, could you give a report on that?
Once again, on the agenda, that needs to be corrected. It says Elders Committee, Mary Waters, Chairman.
Oh, yeah.
That needs to be corrected. Whoever's done these agendas, that needs to be corrected. It's Kay Anderson as chairman.
Okay, we met last Tuesday for our elders meeting, and with everything going on for Christmas and everything, they decided to go to South Coffeyville to the casino Friday on the 8th, and then we went to Brahms afterwards, which is Bonnie's specialty. And then Saturday, we went to Rural Rock. There was between 27 to 31 people.
Could you hold up, okay, we can't hardly hear you up here.
Okay, Saturday, we went to, Friday, we went to South Coffeyville to the casino. And then afterwards, we went to Brahms. And then Saturday, went to, Woolly Rock to the museum, and then afterwards they went to Osage Casino and had supper. And they came back, and they did that all early because everything's planned out for the weekend before Christmas. Every weekend was taken up, so that's why they wanted to do this early. It was kind of fast and everything, but there was a lot of people that signed up and that wanted to go, and they all had fun. And then the elders is gonna have a Christmas party on the 22nd, and exchange gifts, or we're gonna play Dirty Santa, and just have a lot of fun.
How many people, went to the, Bull Rock and to the?
I know they had 31 people signed up.
I think 27 went.
27 went.
So
How'd
they had,
everybody do on, Cherokee Casino in South Papa? I was only 2 blocks away and I didn't know that.
I guess
Not that any good.
everybody had fun, all I know.
How'd they do at, Osage Casino after the Bull Rock?
Oh, I didn't ask, because I didn't go.
Nancy, did you go?
Oh, yeah.
How'd you do? Oh, well, let me put this, how, did you, hear anything
I
about
ate.
it?
I ate and ate, because they had prime rib out there. They gave us a $25 free play. I think the elders ended up having to pay, they gave us a $10 food option. And we had to pay the other $10 out of the elders did that.
$10 for
everybody.
prime rib, that's pretty good.
That's what I thought. I thought I took a plastic bag.
Yeah.
But, yeah, didn't the ladies, they can flat go now. I got home at 11:30 that night, and they were still kind of wanting to stay, and I said, I can't do this. I gotta go home. But I think they had a real good time on that. Couldn't walk the next day. Charles Randall had to push me up the hill. But yeah, that was a good deal. It was a good trip.
Yeah, I think there was like 3 of you that had to be pushed by the wheelchair.
Yeah. Charles Randall got halfway up the hill and he took his coat off, his shirt was wet, his coat was wet. And I told him, I can walk up there. And he said, no, come on. And away we went.
Okay, the elders committee's next meeting, what, on the 8th?
It was on the 8th, last Tuesday.
For
No,
January?
I don't know, I don't have a calendar.
Hang on, Bert.
Yeah, that was the 8th.
It's on the 4th for
Yeah,
December.
Monday would be New Year's.
Next
Right.
January.
Yep, January 8th.
January 8th.
Okay, thank you, Kay.
Are there any questions or comments on the Elders Committee report?
Good report. Okay.
Yes, we appreciate it. And on reinvestment, no meetings or no report. Tribal operations. John, Chief, any comment?
No report.
Okay. Veterans Committee, Roger.
I was absent, no report.
And I was absent, and Joe was absent, so none of us made it, so we had no idea yet. Report. I guess we could table that until next month, find out what.
Yes, Joe?
This Veterans Committee, I had a doctor's appointment that evening, so I couldn't be here, but this is getting to be a sore subject. They have a meeting every month, and it seems like they're the only committee that can't appoint a secretary and get us in a written report in the packet. Every other committee has a report in the packet. I understand why reinvestment doesn't have one. You didn't have a meeting. I understand tribal ops has nothing to report every month. That money goes straight to the tribe. But these other committees always have a report. Education, community services, elders, What's wrong with the veterans getting a written report in this packet?
Do they have a secretary?
I don't know, but if they don't, they need to appoint one. Because this is getting to be a sore subject with me. It seems like they're the only committee that thinks they can't put a report in the packet. They are a trust board committee.
Yes, they are.
We're due a report from them every month.
I agree.
Well, for those of you who are members of the committee, urge them to please make sure they have a written
To appoint
report.
somebody that can do the minutes and get them in the packet.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will be at the next Veterans Committee meeting, believe
and
me.
you can bring it up to them.
I know, I'll guarantee you, I'll be there.
I would entertain a motion to accept the reports as presented. I have a motion, a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor of approving the reports as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The motion is carried and the reports are approved as presented. Any unfinished business? And on new business, I see, yes, Joe?
On unfinished business, I want to remind all of the committees that you need to work with our chief financial officer and do a line item budget for 2018, which takes effect January the 1st. That's our fiscal year. She has some of the budgets from last year, but we've increased the budget by 20%. So you all need to go through these line items and decide what amount you want on what line. Community services, we've already did that. We did increase some of the benefits also to some of the tribal members. Like we increased them by 20%. Emergency assistance, we raised to 240 instead of 200. But every committee is responsible for doing their own budget. They've got the total amount of what their budget's gonna be for next year. And, of course, you won't know exactly until if you're gonna have the carryover. But
But a budget could be worked out.
but the
with amount we
budget,
do
the
know.
budget should be worked out on what the budget, what you have, not what you got carryover. So each committee needs to have a budget in, but by the January, they really need to have it before the end of the year.
Yeah, so they can start the year with
So
their.
they need to work with Leslie and get their budget worked out.
Leslie, have you heard from any of the committees besides
No, ma'am.
community service? Okay.
I
All
know Alan and Joe are working on the community service one, and Joe's reported in that there's been an increase to the benefits. I have not received a finalized one yet, but I'm making the assumption it's on its way, because I know they are working on it.
We will have it by Friday because it's gonna go in the newspaper.
Okay? But I have not spoke to any of the other committees.
So somebody, whoever's the chair of these committees need to get together and work out their budget before the end of the year. I mentioned that at the last meeting.
Kate, have you given any thought to your 2018 budget? That you have more money now to work with and
Not yet.
maybe increasing it?
But we will.
Okay,
Yeah, get with financial, get your budget worked out, okay?
is education going to meet anytime before the end of the year?
I had to work, I didn't go to the meeting.
Daryl was at the meeting Monday, but
I'll give him a call.
Yeah, who was all there?
Oh, no, I had to work, so I couldn't make it.
me, Daryl, Chief, Bonnie Joe, Roger,
I wasn't there, I had gone.
Sheridan. That's it, isn't it?
And
Yes,
cultural
yeah, I think you-
preservation and veterans committee will have to get their budgets in. Reinvestment, that's kind of cut and dry. It's the percentage, and that's what it is. Same thing for tribal operations.
Yeah.
So hopefully you will hear from all the committees that need to get with you before the end of the year.
That's all I have under unfinished business. Just a reminder.
Under new business, we have, PLC donation from the Elders Committee. Yes, Leslie?
Yes, the Lenape, I'll get that down pat soon. My understanding is the Elders Committee had voted, and according to their minutes, they do need to increase that amount from the 600 to 700. But they voted in the committee to do a donation through the Elders Committee. And at this time, it was my understanding that because it's over a $500 cap, that the trust board itself must approve or needs to approve for the elders.
What did the elders committee actually approve?
700.
I
Why
asked
does
for-
why
I
does the minutes,
asked-
why
I
does the
asked for
minutes say
1,000.
600 then?
And I brought it down to 700 and they accepted that.
Why does the minutes
It's a
say
typographical error in the minutes.
typographical?
They're still not finalized, they're not approved minutes. They are the first draft minutes,
Okay.
so a
But
correction.
the motion was 700 and it did pass.
Yes, sir.
Is there any discussion of this donation? Homer, you're on the Elders Committee. Do you have any thoughts on that, or are we ready to call for a vote? Good with that? Okay.
So 700.
I'd entertain a motion then to approve the $700 donation to the Lenape PLC Foundation Christmas Party. Somebody want to make that motion? Okay. And we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the $700 donation to the Lenape PLC Christmas Party by the Elders Committee, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion is carried.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Spend it wisely.
Have fun. And then we have the time, date, and location of next meeting.
Is everybody available on the third Wednesday of next month?
Let me get my calendar out.
Will you,
If we are, I think we ought to go back to our regular date. Because a lot of our tribal members are confused as to when our trust board meetings are, because we keep changing them around.
I'll be retired after the 22nd, so I'll have a lot more flexibility.
Couldn't resist, could you?
What is the third Wednesday of next month? You have a calendar?
no, I left it out.
17th? I'll make a motion that our next trust board meeting be January the 17th, 2018 at 5 p.m. at the same location, Delaware Community Center.
Next year.
January what date?
What you said, 17th, did you not, Marilyn?
That's the third Wednesday.
Third
Okay.
Wednesday at 5 p.m. That's my motion.
Here we have a motion, we have a second.
Second?
All in favor of having our next meeting, January 17th, 2018, which will be the third Wednesday of January at 5 p.m. Right here at the Delaware Community Center, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say yes, Chief.
I wanted to make an announcement that there's a Christmas party Friday night.
Oh, yes.
Everybody on the trust board is invited.
Friday night.
Oh,
Well,
thank you.
it'll be right here.
Okay, what time Friday?
I think it starts.
I think they ought to postpone it till Saturday, because I'm working.
We will have a dirty Santa party for anybody that wants to
Take a piece of paper.
participate in the dirty Santa. And plenty of good food, and maybe even something to drink.
You never know.
Motion and second.
Sure.
Okay, after you call the question, one other. You're sure? Okay.
Okay, we had a motion and a second on our next meeting being January 17th at 5 p.m. right here. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion is carried, that's when our next meeting will be. And then, John, you wanted to bring up something under new business?
I'm still not clear on exactly what the routing of our trust money that was settled with the Tom Peckham group, his law group. Chief, maybe you could maybe clue me in, clue us in, the trust board here. I know that it's trust funds, I've checked on it, and all the people I've talked to agree that it is trust money. Now, I don't know if the tribal council has did anything pertaining to how that money is supposed to be released. And I think that we should be consulted with how that money is going to be moved, the trust board. We're also on the, we're also one of the plaintiffs on the suit as well, the trust board is. And I'm still not clear exactly what the tribal council or the tribe is trying to do with this particular monies that is trust money.
Could I approach the
Sure.
trust board where you can hear me? First of all, John, there's a question of whether or not these monies are in fact trust monies. The monies that we're talking about are leftover monies from land claim, docket 72 and 298, monies that were paid out to individuals that could not be found or had passed away. And the original act of Congress that approved these payments specified, first of all, that 10% of the total land claims went to the tribe. And second of all, any leftover per capita paid out would revert to the tribe after a certain number of years. Those acts preceded the Delaware Trust Board by about 20 years. Now, this is my personal opinion, not necessarily the opinion of the council, although I know at least one other council member, and there's probably an additional one, that thinks we should, number one, pay off the attorneys that have been working for these monies for about 15 years. And second of all, we should put half of the remaining money in the control of this trust board. That's my personal opinion.
I would be in favor of that.
I'm in favor of that, and I know that there's two other council members. But I don't think we really should start arguing about how personally trust the trust board and the council more than I do the federal government. I don't think now's the time to argue about what we're gonna do with the money. It's money that's been owed us for over 17 years. Let's just pray that we get it in 8 to 10 weeks that Mr. Peckham is estimating it will now take. Thank you.
Thank you. Will the trust board be notified when the funds are received?
Of course.
Uh,
The whole tribe will be notified.
Okay,
Chief, just so that you know that we're not, there at that point yet, like you said, until that money has been turned over to, our body, the trust board body and the tribal council. We're not trying to argue about how to spend it, just so that you know that that's not where I'm coming from. But I think there's a procedure by the law office in requesting that funds and how it's to be dispersed, how they route the money itself. Now, if we're talking about routing some of the money into the trust fund itself that we have in Albuquerque under the tribe's trust board IIM account, that's where I would like to see any particular monies that trust board is going to be allotted for it to go in that particular account. Now, it hasn't been discussed exactly, like the amount between the trust board and the council, if that's where we're at. We should sit down with yourself and others, the trust board and the council, and to discuss this particular issue, and so that everybody will be clear on exactly what's going on, especially the trust board and the council. We would know what's going on and how that money is going to be routed.
I am exactly in favor and would, by my authority, ask for a council trust board joint meeting
Yes.
as soon as we know we're getting the money.
And
Nobody's trying to hide anything.
that's what is not clear as far as the routing of the money itself from the attorneys. Exactly how the money is going to be dispersed to us. Exactly how they're going to be dispersed to us.
but do we even know that yet?
Yes,
Yes, Leslie?
we were asked that the best solution at this point in time was to create a separate account. We have a settlement funded account sitting down at Arvest Bank. The office at the United States that are gonna send these funds have all the routing information to place the money in this account until it's decided by both the trust board and the council what they wish to do with it. But the lump sum itself is coming into this particular bank account. And I check every morning to see if it happens to pop in there. So we will know exactly how much goes in and the day it actually gets there.
That sounds
This,
good. That's gonna be in a dedicated account.
Yes, it's a separate dedicated account. It does not intermingle with any of the federal funds, the tribe's funds, or the trust accounts, etc. It's its own account. And the Department of Justice, I believe, is the one that is routing that monies to this particular account. So that way we will have absolute tracking as to how much goes where and to whom when it's been decided.
Okay, that's where my concern is that once the federal government releases that money to that particular account, the attorneys would probably know, because I don't think you do, and I don't think anybody here does, is that money still held in trust with this bank account, this particular account that you're talking about?
It's not considered a trust account, no.
Okay, so that's what we want to head off right there. Because if we get that money there, then we're not gonna be able to put it into our particular trust account in Albuquerque. And this is where I'm coming from, is I think any money from the trust board should go in that particular account out in Albuquerque. And, before, see, this is what I was afraid of, that there already has been an account set up so that the funds can go to that particular account there at the bank. And consequently, it hasn't been other monies that we want to go into the trust account itself, it won't be able to go there because of the way you got it set up. And I think that this is one of the things that we want to do with the council, is to stop this disbursement until we can figure out exactly how it's going to be dispersed. Now, if there's X amount of dollars goes into that particular account, that's fine. But the other money goes into the trust account itself. That's supposed to be handled by the trust board, if that's what we agree to.
Joe?
That's what you agreed to, John.
Pardon me?
That's what you agreed to.
I haven't agreed to nothing.
This,
I'm just laying out information here,
this
Joe.
money was actually trust money when it was paid out.
Yes, it still
But it
is.
was paid out to all of the individuals. This money is individuals that were deceased or could not be located.
So these are.
So it's already been pulled out of the Office of Trust Fund Management.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, absolutely. it
This is
has.
what we need to find out, so
Absolutely.
this is exactly what we need to find out.
It's at the Department of Treasury, it's not at Albuquerque.
It,
This money is not trust money anymore, it's already been paid out.
we need to find that out from somebody besides you and somebody besides me. We need to find out exactly the status of this money and where it's at and how it's gonna be dispersed. That's what we need to find out. It's only business.
Paid out.
I imagine that Tom Peckham has already investigated this.
And he says the same thing, it's already money that's been paid
Well,
out.
how do you know he said that, Joe?
Because I've talked to him.
Okay, why didn't you tell us that you've been talking to him about this?
It's been
You're
several
on the
years
trust
since
board.
I've been told that by Tom.
Well, that's several years ago. It could have changed by now.
I don't think
Things
so.
could change. but
It's not in Albuquerque anymore and hasn't been for a long time. Ever since it was awarded in docket 72 and 298, that's when it was released from Albuquerque.
Can I make a recommendation to this
Yes,
board?
please do.
Why don't I just ask this board for a special joint meeting with the Delaware Tribal Council, and we will get Mr. Peckham and another attorney to come and address us of what these monies are. How about in January?
Sounds good to me.
January is before the money has been moved anywhere.
Be agreeable to me. Is that agreeable to the rest of the trust board?
Yes, we need to find out. That's all I'm saying, Joe.
I think we're jumping.
That's all
I think we're
that's all I'm
jumping.
saying, is let's find out the status of his
I was
money.
told in
and what it is,
2002, we'd have our money within 90 days. I think we're jumping the gun. I'll believe it when I hear from Washington DC, they released the check.
Well, whether they release it or not, we still need to find out the status of the funds. Whether it's trust fund or not trust funds, we still need to find out that status. Whether it's released in 10 days or 90 days, or if it's not released, we still need to find out the status of that money, so somebody like me won't be asking about it.
Well,
So
that'll
this
be
would
all
be-
decided at the joint council.
Yes.
That'd be an informational meeting.
Right.
Okay, is everybody on the trust board agreeable to having an informational meeting in January? Okay, that sounds good to me. Thank you, Chief. I think that the trust board's in agreement. We would like an informational meeting in January. That'd be very satisfactory.
Did we ever call for the question of the meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did we?
Oh, yeah, the
That's
date
right,
is
we
set.
did.
Joe, I think there was one other thing. You said you wanted to bring up something else under new business.
I forgot what it was now.
Oh,
I had another issue on the new business.
oh, yes.
At our last meeting, we went into executive session to discuss exactly this resolution because it was put on us at the last minute to find out what was going on. During that time, one of our members walked out of our meeting and decided to come out here and sit with the other council people and the people that was here in the audience. Now, that's highly improper for this person that did this. I think that I'd like to ask him if he wants to address it himself in any kind of way. Other than that, there is a constitution. We've got bylaws and our constitutional bylaws that specifically addresses discipline. And also, I have a question. I have with our treasurer a conflict of interest. I feel there's a conflict of interest between our treasurer sitting on the tribal council, sitting on the trust board, being a treasurer. We don't know what side he's on, just as this discussion just pointed out. He prefers the money to go to the tribal council. That's the way I interpreted it. Now,
Okay, let's let Joe speak. Joe?
For one thing, when an executive session becomes argumentative, I've got the right to walk out of any meeting I want to walk out of. You show me in the Constitution or the bylaws or the trust document where it prohibits that. About me serving on the trust board as treasurer, show me anywhere in the Constitution of the Delaware tribe or the Delaware trust document that prohibits that. I was not appointed, I was elected.
yes, that's right.
And until that Constitution is changed or the trust document is changed, I'll continue to run for this trust board and I will continue to do my job as treasurer. I will not be influenced by any other council member nor the council. I'll vote from my heart whatever I feel is best for this trust board. I'll do the same on the tribal council. I'll vote.
It's still
from
a
my heart.
conflict of interest,
No,
Joe.
it's not a conflict.
Yes, it
of
is.
interest. The people elected me. I was not appointed. The people elected me.
It doesn't make it right just because you was elected. It doesn't say in the Constitution,
Get a
if you was elected,
petition.
you could do this.
Get a
It doesn't say
petition
that.
then to change the Constitution is my only suggestion to you.
It is not currently violating any laws of the Constitution
I'll-
for someone to serve on both.
I will bring a resolution pertaining to our bylaws, to the Constitution and the bylaws, and not only the tribal council, but the trust board as well. And then we can vote on whatever we want to do, if there's any action that we want to take pertaining to a conflict of interest, walking out of our meetings. And I didn't bring up anything else, but
Okay, so you have a motion? Yes.
Yes, I think before, anybody, discusses on anything like this, for they need to find out that laws and bylaws of the Constitution before they bring it out to public
right,
and make it,
exactly, and I did that.
and we need to see that before we get.
I wanted to present it to Joe so he could.
If you did that, I want you to point it out to me in
Okay,
the
I will.
Constitution and bylaws where it's at.
I will, but I wanted to bring it up to you first So that
it's
you
not
could,
in
so
there.
you could have just addressed it without me having to put it down on paper
I
and
am
stuff like that and have a
It is
vote
not in
again.
our constitution or bylaws or trust document that it's conflict of interest me being on such.
That's right.
So apparently, Mr. Thomas, you don't know how to read, you need to go read the trust document, the
I have,
Constitution.
Joe, I have.
Well, you need
And
to
I don't
study
need, you probably need to reread it yourself.
I don't think so. I've been on this tribal council or trust board for 37 years. I believe I know the Constitution and bylaws inside out.
Homer?
I think we need to, discuss this more next month until we, both sides approve and show the document right here in front of us where they can back each other up on their deal.
Yes.
So table this until a future meeting when we can have the document, and if
The
there's.
resolution, the resolution pertaining to what we can vote on.
You take a vote of the whole tribal membership to change the Constitution or bylaws.
I'm not talking about changing the Constitution, I'm talking about the trust board. We can, I'll write up the resolution pertaining to this issue, and we can take a vote on it.
It
That's what I'm
can't
saying.
override the Constitution or trust document.
Nobody's trying to say it's gonna override any kind of trust document. You haven't seen the resolution yet.
Well, I would like to table this issue until our next meeting, and at that time, you'll be able to have your resolution prepared and citations from the trust document, Constitution, and so on, and we can discuss this further at that time. I do have one other thing under new business. I checked my mailbox. I received a CD. It says draft environmental impact statement from the Air Mobility Command, and there is a letter with it. I think it's just something that whenever they undertake a project, they have to notify all the tribal authorities. Chief, do you know if anyone on council got a similar letter or a similar CD?
From the Air Mobility Command.
Yes, it says Department of the Air Force Civil Engineer Center, Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland, Texas. It says it's a copy of the draft environmental impact statement.
Impact statement,
So,
on a specific quadrant. It doesn't say in the letter what the contract, what the conduit is.
We get letters like that.
it's addressed to me, but it was addressed to me, but I think it needs to be routed to perhaps to our environmental department, so I will pass that on. Okay, I think we have taken care of all our business for tonight. I'd entertain a motion. Oh, yes, Joe.
I've got an announcement.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Just so everybody knows, until the Constitution or trust document is changed, I am going to run for trust board again this November.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I would now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second?
Okay.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. We are adjourned at 6:12 p.m.